The Grand Master will be formally presented later in the program for his remarks.
Most worshipful, I desire that you present.
Well, good evening, everybody.
Good evening,
Oh, that sounds like a food coma to me. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening,
That's better. We'll get there. All right. Well, this is quite an occasion. And what makes, I think, this even more unique is that this is the first time we've actually done this ceremony where we're broadcasting internationally. So, welcome to everybody who's watching us via Zoom. And we appreciate you being with us virtually. And we definitely appreciate those who have made it here in person. Brethren and friends, we are gathered for the purpose of formally opening a new lodge in the city of Culver City, to be known as Lautaro Lodge, UD, in order that Masons may lawfully assemble therein. Let us ever remember the passage wherein it is written, "Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the beard, upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. For there the Lord commanded the blessing, even life, forevermore." Let us pray. Please rise as you are able.
O thou great architect of the universe, by thy grace and infinite mercy, we are entering upon the performance of a privilege devolving upon us as Masons and instituting this new lodge to the service of thee, our country, and Freemasonry. May it please thee, O God, so to set a guard over our hearts and lips, that no evil thought may have ever utterance. So guide our minds that no act may be committed, other than will reflect credit upon our craft and glorify thee, our supreme Grand Master. Give to the officers and members of this lodge moral and physical strength toward the fulfillment of their duties as men and Masons, both within these sacred precincts and without, where men are judged by the lives they lead. We pray thee to keep us and bless us, one with the other, that this lodge and our great craft, whithersoever dispersed, may be worthy and prosper as the years pass on toward eternity. Amen.
Please be seated. Prior to the year 1717, any number of brethren might assemble at any time and at any place for the performance of work, and when so assembled, were authorized to receive brothers and fellows and to practice the rites of Masonry. The ancient charges were the only standard for the regulation of their conduct. Except in lodges permanently established at particular places, the master was elected for only the particular meeting over which he was presiding, and his authority terminated with the dissolution of that meeting. All the brethren were amenable to the General Assembly of the crowd held each year, and to that power alone. With the formation of a Grand Lodge in the city of London in 1717, A regulation was adopted declaring that the privilege of assembling as masons, theretofore possessed by all the brethren to the exercise of their pleasure, should be vested in certain lodges convened in certain places, and that, with the exception of 4 old lodges then existing, no lodge thereafter should be convened without a warrant from the Grand Master with the consent of the Grand Lodge. From that time, warrants of constitution date their existence. A warrant of constitution, or as we term it, a charter, in this jurisdiction, emanates from the most worshipful Grand Lodge of free and accepted Masons of the state of California. And no lodge may be constituted as such until it has received its charter. The Grand Master, however, may issue a dispensation authorizing and empowering the brethren therein named to form and open a lodge after the manner of free and accepted Masons, and therein to admit to membership and make Freemasons according to the ancient customs and not otherwise. While a lodge may not be constituted until it has received its charter, the phrase "in a just and legally constituted lodge" refers not only to a lodge working under a charter, but likewise to one working under a dispensation from the Grand Master. So far as the regularity and legality of their work is concerned, lodges under dispensation and charter lodges have the same standing. There are, however, certain restrictions imposed upon lodges under dispensation, and they do not possess all the powers of a chartered lodge. A lodge under dispensation, for instance, is not entitled to representation in the Grand Lodge, although it may send delegates thereto who are admitted to seats and have a voice but no vote. Furthermore, it exists subject to the will and pleasure of the Grand Master, who may at any time revoke the authority under which it has theretofore worked. Our Constitution requires that new lodges must work a time under dispensation, as a test of the ability of the officers and the brethren to properly perform the duties incumbent upon them and exhibit satisfactory evidence of Masonic capability. The authority conferred by a dispensation continues only until the first day of the next succeeding annual communication. At least 30 days prior to the first day of such annual communication, the dispensation is returned to the Grand Secretary, together with the bylaws, books of records and returns, and a petition for a charter may be presented. If, after an examination of its work and proceedings, it appears to the Grand Lodge that the petition should be granted, a charter is issued and a number assigned to the lodge. And within 90 days thereafter, the lodge is duly constituted. The petition may be refused without any further order being made, and the lodge ceases to exist. Or a charter may be refused and the dispensation continue in force until the first day of the next annual communication. Thus, whether the lodge to be opened this evening will eventually receive a charter depends solely upon the manner in which the brethren comprising it discharge the duties and responsibilities devolving upon them. Not only is it required that they shall in all things conform to certain rules and regulations, but it is likewise essential that they should observe the spirit, no less the letter of the law. It is, I trust, understood that there must be no departure from the esoteric work adopted by the Grand Lodge and taught by the Grand Lecturer. This duty devolves upon the officers of the Lodge, and a petition would be denied if, upon examination, it should appear that the Master and his officers were not competent to confer the degrees of Masonry in accordance with the ritual. There is, however, further responsibility which the brethren share with the officers of the Lodge. Upon each member of the Lodge devolves the duty of guarding its portals. The members of a lodge working under dispensation should be particularly careful that a searching inquiry be made into the character and standing of those who present applications. It too frequently happens that the organization of a new lodge is hailed as an opportunity to obtain fellowship with us by some to whom it has theretofore been denied, and by others who have feared to seek it. They presume on perhaps the natural desire of the brethren of the new lodge to increase the membership, and it is unfortunately true that the mistaken idea that numbers indicate success sometimes causes the brethren of a new lodge to disregard the fundamentals upon which the membership of the fraternity is recruited. I hope I need not remind you that Masonry solicits no man for membership. He must come to us of his own free will and accord, soliciting the favor which we confer upon those whom we accept as members. A member of a Masonic lodge is not justified in giving his recommendation to one who has signified a desire for the degrees of Masonry merely because he knows nothing detrimental to his character. More than this is required. He should refuse to recommend any man for the degrees of Masonry unless he has strong reasons to believe that the applicant will ultimately reflect honor on our ancient institution. The Masonic capabilities of the lodge working in a dispensation will be determined no less by the character of its members than by the character of its work. As the strength of a chain is tested by its weakest link, so the standard of a Masonic lodge is set by its least desirable member. However excellent the work might be performed by the officers, and however exact have been the compliance with the rules and regulations, a charter would not issue to a lodge which had shown itself careless of its honor and reputation. So unmindful of its obligations as to admit one not worthy and well qualified. It is believed that those who have been instrumental in forming this new lodge are not only conversant with their duties and responsibilities, but willing and eager to faithfully discharge them. Accordingly, a dispensation has been issued to them, which will now be read by Worshipful Michael Roberts.
The most worshipful Gran Logia of greatest sect of Masons in California, all whom these presents come, read. Whereas a petition has been presented to these my Sunday brother, brother, Christian, April 11, Jeff W. Cardes, Edgar A. Cohen, Yard, Nestor E. Curry, Ronald Flores, Oscar R. Garcia, Guillermo N. Guerreros, Mario A. Gonzalez, Fernando Gutierrez, Jorge L. Martinez, Lo Aiza, Francisco A. Orga, William A. Molina Sanchez, Matias E. Alvarez, Napoleon, Gonzalo I. Otaro Omar, Ricardo M. Vasquez, all residing near the city of Culver City in the state of California, praying to be congregated into a regular lodge known and designated as Otaro Lodge, and promising to render obedience to the ancient usages of land attested, hereby grant this dispensation, honorably authorizing a trusting and well-beloved brother, April 2nd, form and a lodge after the manner of previous of the Masons, and therein to admit to membership and their Freemasons, according to the ancient custom, not otherwise. This dispensation is to continue in full force until the first day of the next annual convocation of our Gran Logia, unless sooner revoked by me. And I do hereby appoint Dr. Guillermo and Perez to be the first pastor. Dr. Christian A. Capolese to be the first senior warden. And Brother Gonzalo Arjona to be the first junior warden of the Southern Lodge, requiring them to return this dispensation with their oaths and records, and attest and copy their bylaws, and a full report of the doings of their said lodge, to our Grand Secretary at least 30 days prior to the expiration of the time herein specified, for examination and for such further action of the premises as shall then be deemed wise and proper. Given under my hand the seal of our Grand Lodge, at San Francisco, California, on the 9th day of September, and delicious 6025, Amanera, Logic 25. Attested by Arthur L. Sullivan Jr., Grand Master, Alan L. Cassidy, Grand Secretary.
Brethren, you have been selected as officers to serve this lodge while it continues under dispensation. It is assumed that you are conversant with the duties of your respective stations. I deem it proper, however, not merely for your benefit, but as well for the benefit of all here assembled, to call your attention to certain of those ancient charges and regulations to which I have referred. In the ceremony provided for the installation of officers, it is said they point out the duties of the master of a lodge. And before the master can be installed, his assent to them must be freely given. With two exceptions, they likewise express the obligations every individual mason assumes upon his initiation into the fraternity of free and accepted masons. They are as follows. You agree to be a good man and true, and strictly to obey the moral law. You agree to be a peaceful citizen and cheerfully to conform to the laws of the country in which you reside. You promise not to be concerned in plots and conspiracies against government, but patiently to submit to the decision of the Supreme Legislature. You agree to pay a proper respect to the civil magistrate, to work diligently, live creditably, and act honorably by all men. You agree to hold in veneration the original rulers and patrons of the order of Masonry, and their regular successors, supreme and subordinate according to their stations, and to submit to the awards and resolutions of your brethren when convened, in every case consistent with the Constitution of the order. You agree to avoid private piques and quarrels, and to guard against intemperance and excess. You agree to be cautious in carriage and behavior, courteous to your brethren, and faithful to your lodge. You promise to respect genuine brethren and to discountenance impostors and all dissenters from the original plan of Masonry. You agree to promote the general good of society, to cultivate the social virtues, and to propagate the knowledge of the art. You promise to pay homage to the Grand Master for the time being, and to his officers when duly bestowed, and strictly to conform to every edict of the Grand Lodge or General Assembly of Masons that is not subversive of the principles and groundwork of Masonry. You admit that it is not in the power of any man or body of men to make innovations in the body of Masonry. You promise a regular attendance on the committees and communications of the Grand Lodge on receiving proper notice, and to pay attention to all the duties of Masonry on convenient occasions. You admit that no new lodge should be formed without permission of the Grand Lodge, and that no countenance should be given to any irregular lodge or to any person clandestinely initiated therein, being contrary to the ancient charges of the order. You admit that no person can be regularly made a Mason in or admitted a member of any regular lodge without previous notice and due inquiry into his character. You agree that no visitor shall be received into your lodge without due examination and producing proper vouchers of their having been initiated in a regular lodge. As a master at his installation is asked, I now ask each of you, do you here, in the presence of your brethren, submit to these charges and promise to support these regulations?
I do.
You will then approach the east, receive your jewels, and repair to your respective stations. Worshipful Sir, the superintendents and government of the brethren who are to compose this new lodge have been committed to your care. You should be mindful on the obligations which devolve upon you as the head, and of your responsibility for the faithful discharge of the important duties appertaining to your appointment. Remember that honor, reputation, and usefulness of your lodge will materially depend upon the skill and assiduity with which you manage its concerns, and that the happiness of its members will be generally promoted in proportion to the watchful care with which you cherish the genuine principles of our institution. For a pattern of imitation, consider the great luminary of nature, which, rising in the east, regularly diffuses light and luster to all within its circle. In like manner, it is your province to spread and communicate light and instruction to the brethren of your lodge. Forcibly impress upon them the dignity and high importance of Masonry, and seriously admonish them never to disgrace it. Charge them to practice out of the laws those duties which they have been taught in it, and by amiable, discreet, and virtuous conduct to convince mankind of the goodness of this institution, so that when a person is said to be a member of it, the world may know that he is one to whom the burdened heart may pour out its sorrows, one to whom distress may procure its suit, one whose hand is guided by justice, and whose heart is expanded by benevolence. In short, by a diligent observance of the bylaws of the lodge, the constitution of Masonry, and above all of Holy Scripture, which which are given to you as the rule and guide of your faith, you will be enabled to equip yourself with the highest honors here, and lay up a crown of rejoicing, which shall continue when time shall be no more. Brothers, senior and junior warden, you are too well acquainted with the principles of Masonry to warrant any distrust that you will be found wanting in the discharge of your respective duties. Suffice it to say that what you have seen praiseworthy in others, you should carefully imitate, and what in them may have appeared defective, you should yourselves avoid. You should be examples of discretion and propriety. For it is only by a due regard for our own laws and regulations as shown in your own conduct that you can expect obedience to them from others. You are assiduously to assist the master in the discharge of his trust, diffusing light and imparting knowledge to all whom he shall place under your care. In the absence of the master, you shall succeed to higher duties. Your requirements must therefore be such as will ensure proper instruction to the crowd. From the spirit which you have hitherto evinced, I entertain no doubt that your future conduct will be such as will merit the applause of your brethren and the testimony of a good conscience. Brethren of Lautaro Lodge only, you are now being congregated and formed into a lodge of free and accepted Masons, which, until the next annual communication of Gran Lodge, is to be continued in existence subject to the will and pleasure of the Grand Master. As I have already indicated to you, whether the lodge now being formed will receive a charter depends solely upon yourselves. Such is the nature of our Constitution that as some must of necessity rule and teach, so must others, of course, learn to submit and obey. Humility in both is an essential duty. The officers which have been chosen to govern your lodge are sufficiently conversant with the rules of propriety and the laws of the institution to avoid exceeding the power with which they are entrusted. And you are of too generous disposition to envy their performance. I therefore trust that you will have but one aim, to prove yourselves worthy of the confidence reposed in you, so that you may in due time receive your charter. Please rise as you are happy. And now, by the authority in me vested, by the most worshipful Grand Lodge of free and accepted Masons of the state of California, I proclaim the brethren named in the dispensation, congregated into, authorized, and empowered to open and hold the lodge of free and accepted Masons to be known and designated as Lautaro Lodge UD. The Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face to shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up upon thee the light of his countenance and give thee peace. Amen. Worshipful sir, the brethren are now authorized to assemble as a lodge of free and accepted Masons. Upon their recommendation, you have been appointed to be their first master. You are now empowered to open your lodge. The emblem of your power is the gavel. In the hands of the master, it may be made an instrument of great good or of greater evil. With it, the master governs his lodge, and the welfare and prosperity of this new lodge will materially depend upon its judicious use. In your hands, I am confident it will be wielded for the best interest of your brethren. You are now formally empowered to open your lodge in due and ancient form at an appropriate time in the near future, having given due notice thereof to your will.
Thank you, Grandmaster, for this unique opportunity in the life of Freemasonry in California. At this time, I would like to appoint the rest of the officers of the lodge. Secretary Ricardo Vázquez. tried for days to find the right word for this moment that you experience. It's so I arrived to the conclusion that the life is right. I tried to find about some words about Freemasonry, about moral, about a lot of things that just in this moment I'm gonna just to say thank you to different people that helped a lot to this lodge to be first, I want to thank you the Grand Architect because the most important person, right? And then I want to thank to my wife for your patience in this process. It was really, really hard. Thank you for your patience, my wife. I want to thank you to all of the brothers for the effort, for your good energy, to be in the most difficult moments of these months. Right? It was really, really hard. So thank you brothers for this. Also, I want to thank you, Grandmaster, for this opportunity in Spanish. It's Spanish, Freemasonry, right? It's really important for us in this lodge. I want to thank you, Inspector Hydro, because you believe in us from the beginning. Thank you so much. Thank you, Inspector, for your advices, for your giving. And also, thank you a lot, Michael Roberts, because for your kindly dealing with us in this really difficult. So thank you. And thank you everyone for being here. Thank you all the brothers and traveled a lot. Thank you from the brothers from Baja California. They drive more 3 hours to be here. Thank you Alberto for driving from Las Vegas. Thank you so much, Nevada. And also thank you the brothers from San Jose. They fly or you drive? You drive? Oh, yeah, you drive. You drove for a lot to be here. Thank you brothers. Thank you. Also, I want to thank you the Grandmasters that they are in the Zoom. Just the Grandmaster of Argentina, he told me he left because it's really late in Argentina. So he was in the beginning. He said, "Thank you to share this one." And also, I think there is the Grandmaster from Guatemala, Grandmaster Victor Danilo Arango. I think he's there, right? He left. No?
Hi, Grandmaster.
Oh, yes.
I try to speak in
A little bit louder, please. Un poco más fuerte, por favor. Sí. Pues te podemos escuchar. Sí.
Okay. Buenas noches, gran maestro de la Gran Logia de California. Buenas noches, grandes maestros que me acompañan. Miembros del alto cuerpo masónico de la Gran Logia de Guatemala. Para mí es un orgullo y un honor estar presente en esta reunión de manera virtual, ya que por cuestiones de logística nos fue imposible poder acudir a la invitación. Hoy vivimos un momento trascendental en la historia de nuestra justa orden y levantamiento de columnas de esta respetable logia Lautaro al oriente de Los Ángeles, California, bajo el auspicio de la Gran Logia de California. Más allá de lo simbólico, representa la luz que se enciende de un nuevo taller para irradiar su rayo de sabiduría, fuerza y belleza a todos quienes aquí se congregan. Levantar columnas es reafirmar que la masonería continúa viva, dinámica y en constante construcción, Estas columnas sostendrán los ideales que nos inspiran, la búsqueda de la verdad, el cultivo de la virtud y el servicio de la humanidad. En cada piedra que se coloca y en cada símbolo que se erige, recordamos que somos obreros del gran arquitecto del universo, llamados a edificar templos de justicia, fraternidad y amor, tanto en nuestras logias como en nuestros corazones. Que esta nueva logia florezca con sabiduría en sus espíritus, fuerza en su don fraternal y confianza en todas sus obras. Y quienes hoy hemos sido testigos de levantamiento, nos comprometamos a acompañar y fortalecer su caminar para que nunca le falte la luz ni el calor de la fraternidad masónica. Recordemos, mis hermanos, que han escogido un nombre muy simbólico como es el nombre de Lautaro. Muchos creemos erróneamente o en algún momento hemos pensado erróneamente que Lautaro era un ser humano, pero recordemos que no. La primera logia de nuestra Lautaro, si no me falla la memoria, fue fundada en Argentina y luchó por los ideales de libertad y buscó la independencia de las colonias. Así que, mis hermanos, unámonos todos y muchos éxitos y larga vida masónica para esta logia. Un fuerte abrazo y un gran saludo de parte de la Gran Logia de Guatemala y de sus altos dignatarios. Les cuento, mis hermanos, y saludos, Gran Master of Gran Logia, California.
Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias, Gran Maestro de Guatemala. Thank you so much, Master of Guatemala. There is Cesar Mora from the Gran Lodge of Ecuador, the brother on behalf of the Grand Master of Ecuador. Cesar Mora se encuentra conectado también. Quisiera saludar al Gran Master. Un poco más fuerte, por favor.
Hago uso de la palabra del gran maestro de la Ceremonia, señalando a nuestro instalado en el levantamiento de columnas que está respetando que se levantaron, grandes maestros presentes, son esenciales, queridos y respetados hermanos de la Logia Lautaro.
the Gran Lodge of Venezuela, there is the Grand Secretary, Cedot Arias, Gran Secretario de la Gran Logia de Venezuela. Cedot.
Buenas noches,
Un poco más fuerte, por favor.
hermanos
Gran Secretario.
de la Gran Logia de California de libres, aceptados, masones. Buenas también, hermanos, grandes maestros, grandes representantes de las ciudades, de las grandes logias de Hispanoamérica. En este momento me acompaña el venerable maestro Arturo Andrés Anderson de la Fraternal Lautaro, número 197 al oriente de Caracas. Seguidamente voy a compartir a través del chat en inglés y español la transcripción de las palabras que remiten a esta honorable asamblea fundadora y instaladora de la Fraternal Lautaro Lodge de California, quinta logia latina en este Gran Oriente, de nuestro fundamental gran maestro José Gregorio Sánchez Bravo, de manera que puedan cada uno de ustedes, respetando a hermanos, contar con sus palabras en esta noche. Esta noche, respetables hermanos, nos permitimos recordar que los masones llamamos a esa tierra que está más allá de las columnas de los templos la profanidad o lo profano. Esa tierra ha sido profanada por la ignorancia, por la visión, por el egoísmo. Durante los últimos 100 años, la humanidad, todos los pueblos del mundo, han estado luchando por su independencia, por sus derechos civiles, por la posibilidad de alcanzar dignidad para sus proyectos de vida en todos los rincones del planeta. Y tristemente, durante los últimos 25 años aproximadamente, tal vez más, en cada uno de los continentes de este planeta comenzamos a ver el retroceso de esos mismos derechos civiles y de esos mismos derechos humanos por los que nuestros pueblos han estado luchando a capa y espada. Así que debe hacer en tierra de Washington, en la tierra de Benjamin Franklin, en la tierra que decidió a Sebastián Francisco de Miranda, no proyectos de libertad para un presidente, a un reloj adelantado para nosotros los más inesperados. Una justicia civil que se debe dar con amor, con esfuerzo, con trabajo, con dignidad, con honestidad, para demostrar que
el designado hermano Michael Sánchez, por favor, solo un minuto, porque nos corre el tiempo, por favor. ¿Se encuentra? Ok, no se encuentra. De la Gran Logia de Nicaragua, el gran maestro Marco Centeno. De la Gran Logia de Nicaragua, el gran maestro, ¿se encuentra?
Hola, muy buenas noches.
Solo un minuto, por favor, gran maestro. Estás conmigo.
Hola, muy buenas noches.
Thank you very much. And the last person on Zoom, it's going to be Past Master Pablo from Cervantes Lodge number 5 from New Orleans, Louisiana. That is the lodge. They practice Scottish Rite with craft degrees in Spanish. Pablo, brother Pablo.
Muy bueno por la verdad, gracias por la oportunidad de usar la palabra y tratar de exhibir las necesidades de nuestra Logia, todos los seres humanos y deseamos que sea con el tiempo cada día más.
Muchas gracias, Master Bob. Thank you so much. And the last greeting is from the Lodge Constancia and Concordia number 11. They sent us the certificate about expresamos nuestro fraterno saludo y mejores deseos porque las luces de la unión y desarrollo y armonía iluminen siempre vuestras columnas solares. Fraternalmente, Worshipful Master Mario Dante Méndez Chescas from Constancia and Concordia number 11. Thank you so much for this. So the HEO will be presented formally the Grand Master. From the Gran Lodge, Baja California, Arturo, if you want to share something, I'm sorry, it's my first time.
Grandmasters, Carlos there.
my grandmaster was gonna connect, relevant because of his Masonic activities. He will not be able to be here. But on behalf of Worshipful Grandmaster Roberto, he sends his congratulations to all the Masons of Vivat Lautaro. Remember that south of the border we say one thing: libertad, igualdad, y fraternidad. The Lodge of Rational Knights, which was the original lodge of the Americas, were full of what we call now libertadores de la América. José de San Martín. He said something. Hace más ruido un hombre gritando que 100,000 callando. And that's, I think, the dilemma that you have to come with your hearts. You have to think, it does not matter what language you speak. This is a universal fraternity. So, congratulations, brother from our lodge as well. And we just say, viva la Logia Lautaro y que dure 100 años y algo más. Viva.
I have the privilege and honor to present to you the Grand Master of California. At this time, I'd like to read to you his biography. Brother Archer Lupe Salazar Jr. is a past master of Irvine Valley Lodge number 671 in Lake Forest and the 33 Lodge in Orange County. He received the degrees of Masonry in San Francisco Lodge number 120 in 2004 and was honored with the Iron Award in 2012 by Irvine Valley Lodge number 671. An Orange County native, Brother Salazar is a certified public accountant, having practiced tax and accountancy for over 20 years. In 2020, he retired from public accounting and accepted the role of Executive Vice President and Secretary of the California Scottish Rite Foundation, where he is now serves as the President of the Foundation. He received a Bachelor of Science degree from the University of California, Riverside, and a Master of Business Taxation from USC. Brother Salazar has acted in service and leadership to the Gran Lodge of California for over 20 years. He served on the Gran Lodge committees and was inspector for 5 years and was elected Grand Treasurer in 2015 and served 6 terms in that role, where he served as treasurer for all of our Grand Lodge entity boards. In addition, Brother Salazar is a 33rd degree Inspector General Honorary in the San Francisco Scottish Rite Valley and Orange County Scottish Rite Valley, and is a member of many Masonic organizations. He has been an adult volunteer for the International Order of Rainbow for Girls and the Malay International. He served as chairman of the 2025 Conference of Grand Masters of Masons in North America. And in June 2025, he was appointed as deputy of the Supreme Council of the Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, Southern Jurisdiction in the Orient of California. Brother Salazar is a proud husband and father. His wife of 25 years, Dr. Laura Camacho Salazar, is a physician, and they have 3 children, all studying to join the medical profession. The Salazars reside in Aliso Viejo in Orange County. Brethren, ladies and friends and guests, it is my honor to present to you the 159th Grand Master of Masons of California, Most Worshipful Arthur L. Salazar, Jr.
I'm free. Gotta walk off that dinner. See, that's why on a night like this, I don't eat all day long because I know there's gonna be so much food when I get here, right? Well, congratulations to all the members and officers of Lautaro Lodge, this is a very, very special night for a lot of reasons. First and foremost, this evening is a celebration of your commitment to Freemasonry. And not just to Freemasonry in California, but to Freemasonry that's universal. We get a feeling of that tonight through our guests that are with us this evening, virtually on Zoom. Outside of the pandemic, we have not used Zoom for a ceremony like this. And even then, it was a limited audience. Tonight, our reach truly is across all borders, all languages, all rituals. It demonstrates that our values as Freemasons transcends borders, transcends language. It transcends all things that we create as boundaries. Tonight we celebrate this idea that good men can come together to build something positive in their community, to build something lasting. Freemasonry is lasting. It's lasted for over 300 years. And God willing will continue until we're no more. Because the world needs what our fraternity has to offer. An opportunity for us to come together, to encourage and inspire one another, to want to become a better version of ourselves every single day. Now we can look over there to the corner of that side of the lodge and we see the individuals as officers. I'm assuming those are all your plus ones, right? Like, we see these special ladies over here who support you in all things you do. Your first inspiration, right? They're the ones who truly inspire each one of you to want to be better, to want to do better, to want to live up to that idea of worthiness, of being the men that they believe you to be. We come together here in Freemasonry to try to do that, to try to learn from each other, from our life experiences, our successes and our failures. And the failures are important too. My dad used to tell me all the time growing up, learn from my mistakes. Don't repeat them, make your own. There's a lot of wisdom in that, right? It means we have to learn from history. That not just individually, but as a society, we have to learn so that we're not repeating the mistakes of the past. And it's places like this where we're able to come together in a spirit of learning, which gives us hope that the future can be bright. We know that's needed now more than ever. Outside these walls is a society that actively tries to divide us. They try to divide us by religion, by country of origin, by language, by the color of our skin, by anything and everything. But we as Masons know better than that. we know that those things don't matter. We know that what's important lies within. When we focus on that, we'll be able to inspire those around us to do the same. Uplift one another. Build that world in harmony that we so desperately need. I'm hopeful for that. The men of this lodge make me hopeful for that. You guys have come together at a time that's not easy, and have stood up and said that we're going to do the right thing. We're going to be a presence for good in our community. We're going to show good men the way to be better. "23 years ago, I first started searching for my place in Masonry. It took me 2 years before I knocked on the door. 2 years, because the internet was really slow back then. And I did all my research online, right? You had to wait for that dial-up tone. Took a long time. I know most people don't even know what that sounds like anymore, right? It means I'm getting old, I think. Yeah, that's what my kids tell me, right? But 23 years ago, I was looking for my place in Freemasonry. And I wasn't sure where that was. I wasn't sure where that was going to be. I knocked on the door at San Francisco 120 and was excited to see the brethren there. The diversity, not just culturally, but by generations. I knew it was a place I was going to be able to come every single week, to be influenced and inspired by good men. And for me, that was a very important time in my life too. Because it was the time when my dad passed away, right? So I was in search of those positive influences. And I think I found them in life. I feel fortunate to have found those men. So I've been able to learn from their wisdom over the years. Try not to repeat their mistakes. There's going to be many men coming through those doors seeking the wisdom of our fraternity. It's going to be up to you guys to teach them to be good Masons. Walking through those doors any day could be a future Grand Master. You never know. What kind of Mason will you teach him to be? One who is just and caring, or one who just says the words and it doesn't mean them. They're empty promises at this altar. I hope it's the first. I know it will be. It gives me so much pride to be able to be here and share this evening with you. It's been said a lot of times this year that in our 175-year history, yes, I'm the first Latino to serve as Grand Master of the Gran Logia. I do that knowing that there were many, many good men that came before me who never had that opportunity. I stand on their shoulders. I owe it to them to keep trying to be a better version of myself. I owe it to all of you to keep trying to be a better version of myself. this is the last lodge that I'll have the privilege of instituting this year. And so for that, I say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for this special gift of your friendship, your trust, and your devotion to our craft that inspires others and inspires me. Thank you very much.
We have some big first to the Grand Master from the brothers of Lautaro Lodge. We have this present special present gift wrap for you and for your wife. Yeah, it's really nice. you can share it.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah, it's
So it's a little statue of representation with my wife in a white coat, which I know she will appreciate very much.
This is another gift from the wife of Lautaro Lodge. Yeah, it's another.
Beautiful placard. I can't even read it. I know this is why I got glasses. It's beautiful. In honor of your presence and guidance at the Institution Ceremonia of Lautaro Lodge, September 9, 2025. Light, reflected wisdom, shared, brotherhood, strength. Lautaro Lodge, Culver City, California. Thank you so much.
It's a Masonic tradition around the world use medals. So we made a medal of the Lodge for you too. And the last gift from the Grand Master, we want to invest you in the 34 degree of study, right? It's really, yeah, it's the most sacred degree.
Garrett, don't get jealous of me.
Lautaro Lodge and from the White Buffalo's degrees, yeah. Yeah, it's for you. And also for worshipful brother Matthew Roberts, we have you can a laptop or do this lodge. We have a special gift for you too. is for Inspector Javier Echeverria. Thank you for so much. And this the last. All right. So, the past master from Hemos number 15, he has a gift. You can come to the east. It's a gift to the Grand Master of Arkansas.
A la gloria del gran arquitecto del universo, respetable Logia Ciudad, Lautaro 197, al oriente de Caracas, Venezuela, instalada el 13 de abril de 1985, era jurisdiccionada a la nunca respetable Gran Logia de la República Venezolana. Por amor fraternal, en honor, se entrega este reconocimiento a la Logia de Lautaro, al oriente de Los Ángeles, California, en ocasión de su fundación, que los principios de la libertad, la igualdad, la fraternidad sean siempre guías en su trabajo. Venerable maestro, secretario Héctor y orador fiscal de la Institución. Querido hermano, de parte de la Logia Lautaro más antigua que existe, que es la Logia Lautaro de Mendoza, de su argentina natal, Lautaro de Mendoza, número 396, fundada el 7 de julio de 1926, la cual cumple 99 años. Vengo a traerle un abrazo de salud, fuerza y unión. Salud. Unión. De parte del venerable maestro de esa logia que se llama Guillermo, y sus secretarios del equipo venezolano le mandan muchos saludos fraternos, que nunca olviden que la iniciativa masónica para nuestro continente comenzó por la logia Caballeros Nacionales, se trasladó a nuestro continente con las logias paramasónicas lautarinas. 100 años después se fundó la primera logia Lautaro de Mendoza y hoy casi 100 años se fundó otra logia Lautaro. Que en esta oportunidad las logias Lautaro sean para poder unificar un pueblo, que nos une una cultura y una lengua. La vara está muy alta para ustedes, queridos hermanos, y el deber que tienen que ir es estar muy alto la masonería para nosotros. Este es otro reconocimiento que le doy lectura. A la gloria del gran arquitecto del universo, salud, fuerza y unión, escuela esotérica, axiológica y crítica a la cartera, meritocracia, pragmatismo y prudencia. Reconocimiento, respetable logia simbólica local, al oriente de Los Ángeles, California, en virtud de su compromiso con el estudio profundo, constante y disciplina del esoterismo, así como la práctica seria y consistente de los principios que guían a quienes buscan la verdad, y amor por el conocimiento. Que este diploma no sea solamente un reconocimiento simbólico, sino también una afirmación de que el camino recorrido por el galardonado contribuye a la construcción de una tradición más sólida, crítica y enriquecedora en el ámbito del pensamiento esotérico de habla hispana. Con su esfuerzo, ustedes fortalecen la cadena unión que ensambla a las generaciones que buscan, buscadoras del saber y que abren nuevas sendas hacia el compromiso espiritual. La práctica del esoterismo, tal como la entendemos en nuestra escuela, es un ejercicio de libertad interior, de despertar la conciencia y el perfeccionamiento del ser humano. Quien se adentra en este sendero no solo se enriquece individualmente, sino que también aporta la caridad, los valores, la luz a la colectividad de la cual forma parte. En el marco de la Unión Hispanoamericana, este reconocimiento subyace la importancia de mantener viva la llama del conocimiento ancestral, la filosofía crítica y la hermandad entre los pueblos, que comprende la lengua y la cultura. Su esfuerzo es portar un acto de servicio no únicamente personal, sino comunitario, en la medida en que aspiran a animar a otros a seguir el doble camino de la sabiduría. Que este diploma sea pues testimonio del valor de su entrega por el brillo de la constancia, del fruto de la búsqueda inalcanzable por la luz verdadera, la sabiduría que enriquece a toda la humanidad. Certificado que se expide a los 9 días del mes 9 del año 6025 de la luz verdadera. Omar Martínez, escritor, del representante ya casi resuelto.
Dice aquí from Lautaro Lodge in Venezuela. There are too many Lautaro Lodge in different countries. Thank you so much, brothers. Any presentation?
This is a small token of my appreciation. Go ahead and open it. I'll explain what it is for everybody else. They won't be able to see it. So, this here in my logo, I had the symbol of aceptados in the middle of the square compass, which is actually the helping that I've been distributing all year long. It was my hope to use the symbol of aceptados to share a piece of culture and history in my family heritage with the members of the California Masons, so that everybody could just feel that presence of their own history, that it would inspire them to embrace their own history, their culture, their families, and share that with their communities. And so I had that also made into documents. And so you have in your hands to set up basic documents. Thank you very much. You.
I now call on Paul Cherry for the benediction. We read continue or start.
Te rogamos que influyas en nuestros corazones y mentes para que cada uno de nosotros practique fuera de logia los grandes deberes morales que se imputan en ella y estudie y obedezca con reverencia las leyes que nos ha dado en tu santa palabra. Amén.
Thank you for joining us this evening. We look forward to celebrating with you during the reception in our dining hall. Photos will be taken in the lodge shortly after we conclude the ceremony. We ask that you please allow the officers with their ladies to retire first from the lodge. Thank you so much.